Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us a little early for the Google Apps for Business webinar. My name's Ashley Hall. I've just shared the presentation screen there, so if you wouldn't mind, if you can hear me okay just to test the audio, could you go to the right-hand side of your screen where it says brainstorming document, just open that document up and just type in there that you can hear me, just write the words, I can hear this audio, just to give me some confirmation there that the audio is going okay. Thank you very much. We'll be starting in 5. Good afternoon there. I see that a couple of more people have joined us now. We'll be starting just a few moments there. So for those who have just joined, my name's Ashley Hall. I work on the Google Apps for Business team here in Dublin. If you wouldn't mind, on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see we've actually got some sample documents of the materials we're going to be using during this this webinar here. The most important one I'd like you to have open in a new tab, if you can, is the brainstorming shared document. So that's a Google document, and I've set that so it doesn't require a username or a password to open that, so you don't need to have a Google account yet. Just pop open that document and just try typing a few words in there. That's really the first experience I'd like you to have there, which is editing a document with people who are distributed throughout the UK and the world, and the people that are coming to this webinar today. And it also just enables me to see there that you've managed to log in and that you're hearing me okay. I'll be chucking a few resources in there and also taking questions through that mechanism, so it'd be great if you could just open that up in a new tab, see how you get on there. Brilliant. It sounds like people can hear me okay. Feel free, so this is a completely public document there, so feel free to make the changes that you want to it. Just practice there having a little edit of that Google document there. So I've now changed my screen here to the presentation, which I'll be running through. This is my generic introduction presentation for Google Apps that I'll run customers through here. So it's quite basic to begin with. I've had a chat with a few of you guys before you've come here. I know there's a mixed ability, so I'm going to start basic there, explaining the cloud and where Google Apps has come from, why it's different to what else is out there on the market. And at the end, if you've got more technical questions or some more general questions, please don't hesitate to throw them into the shared document I've just mentioned there. I'll be happy to take those up at the end. We've got 15 minutes at the end. Happy to chat through any questions you may have specifically. So, I work for a division of Google called Google Enterprise. So you may be familiar with the search and advertising section of our business. The Google Enterprise is the idea behind what we sell, as we've taken the consumer products that have been perfected by up to 1 billion users in some cases, such as Gmail, Google+, and Google Documents, and we secure them for use with Enterprise. So it means that you can deploy these excellent web apps that have been used by billions of people already at home, and you can bring those to work and centrally administer their use so that they're ready to be used in an enterprise situation. The other products that we also deal with, just for your own context there, we deal with Chromebooks there on the far left. So that will be your laptops which have great battery life, which are very cheap to buy, and that are designed to run only web apps there. So they always boot in 8 seconds. They're really nice devices. If you're near a PC World, I would drop in there and just have a look at those devices. Lots of people have them as their secondary consumer device. They're really super laptops there. We also sell something more technical called the Google Cloud Platform. It's where you can rent part of our servers, the same servers that run the Google.com search, to deploy your own web infrastructure. So if you're making an application that you want customers to access, like if you're a very large company making a coupon program perhaps, or something which needs a web interface, then the Cloud Platform would definitely interest you there. Any developers in the audience, I definitely recommend having a look there. On the other side of the presentation here, we've got we also deal with Google Maps. So if you're looking to deploy, if you have a lot of spatial data in your firm and you're looking to share that internally or with customers outside your firm, then Geo is definitely an area to have a look at. Happy to share any informational links at the end if you're interested in Google Maps. That may be of particular interest if you're an estate agent, if you're in the manufacturing, or perhaps especially in the utilities sector there. And also search, which is if you've got a very large company intranet already and you want to use the Google.com technology to crawl everything that's inside your firm, then the Google Search Appliance is a really interesting option there. I'm happy to share the links at the end. But the interesting thing about these products is that Google Apps we've essentially rolled all these great consumer products, Search, Geo, the benefit of Chrome in the web there, into a product for everyone from small, medium enterprises up to large-scale firms. So I'll mention the customers that are using Google Apps already at the moment, but really, if you want to take anything about what this presentation is going to be about, it's going to be about the excellent consumer apps that we've secured for enterprise and made enterprise ready here. And I'm happy to now start going through each product and explain how it really changes the way we work. The ongoing theme for this presentation will be the idea of contrasting working in the past, so the way that you may be used to working at work right now with desktop software, traditional software packages there, to working in the future, which we interpret to be bringing the same great hardware and great software tools, the web apps that you've been used to using at home, such as Gmail, such as Google Drive, and on the hardware side, bringing in any laptop you want to work, bringing in your mobile phone and your smartphone to pick up email there, bringing that great consumer technology and deploying it securely in the workspace. So that's the theme here, the contrasting the working in the past to working in the future. So what are the applications that are available to you on Google Apps and working in the future there? So Gmail's now the most popular free webmail service there. So I'm sure a lot in the audience have got an experience with Gmail already. But the unique selling point when that was released in 2004, it has a phenomenal amount of storage. So the free edition is now up to 10 gigabytes, and it has enterprise-beating spam protection. So Gmail users rarely see any spam in their inbox. If you're getting hundreds of emails a day, which is what lots of modern enterprises suffer from, that's an excellent way to manage your email at scale. So really managing the way you receive email. And the great thing is, today I was actually just showing a colleague how they can filter different emails, incoming emails, into different folders and then split your inbox up. So Gmail, if you have to think of it in one way, it's just an extremely powerful web tool for managing a huge quantity of email. the great thing is also that it has a great search facility. So if you spend a lot of your time clicking and dragging email into folders such as project folders or customer folders, you really don't need to do that anymore. You can just hop onto Gmail, use the great enterprise level search that's at the top, and you just have to start, even if you remember just one word that was in that email, the search box will bring it back for you. So you can really start working efficiently and quickly there. Brilliant. Okay, and now this is my favorite part of the Google Apps Suite, and it's something that I really got a grips to when I started working here at Google a year ago, which is the Google Docs and Drive. So what we've done here is so instead of starting up your computer in the morning and going up and click and opening, if you wanted to write a letter to someone, if you had maybe a project file you're working on, we've got rid of the idea that you should click Start if you're on a Windows computer, or if you go into your Mac and open up a sort of a program that's like Microsoft Office Word, any of those desktop-based applications. We've moved that idea that we should be working inside the browser. What does that mean? So all day in Google, the only thing we have open on our screens is the Chrome web browser. The capability of browsers is now so much that people are watching videos, they've got social networking going, there's a variety of like online shopping as well. So the browser is now a really powerful tool, and it's powerful enough now to actually have that same level of desktop software running inside its own browser tab. So actually what you're looking at right now is our presentation software. This has been made and edited in Google Slides. So, or rather, these are Google Slides, which is in our product called Google Presentations here. So I'm running through this. This is not a program that's running on my desktop. I'm sharing with you a Chrome browser instance, and one of my tabs is this presentation. So the other tab is the document I was having open. So really, your life is just tabs. My whole day at work is tabs, tabs, tabs. Everything is in the browser. So really, 3 or 4 years ago, this wasn't possible because browsers were still developing, but our great engineers have managed to bring this software into the cloud here. So it's running on any device, anywhere, anytime you've got an internet connection. And I'm happy to show you just in this slide just after this slide, what that really means in a business context. Why is it good that we have our software running in a browser? I'd also like to run through with you towards the end Google Calendar. Again, something people have often used maybe in their personal context, or if you're part of a club or organization. It's a great way to manage your time in the day and to view other people's calendars effortlessly. So it's got a very nice interface where you can just click and drag on some white space and you've booked your calendar out for that time. And if you've booked your calendar out, then everyone who you've given permission to see your calendar can also see that you're busy and that you shouldn't be interrupted. Or you can actually make events which have multiple participants. So if I was going to organize a team meeting, I would open up a calendar event, find some blank space, and then invite the members of my team through our team alias, so I can invite all 10 or 20 people who are on our team all at once, and they'll get a notification, and that will automatically block out their calendar there. So for some firms listening now, that might just be replicating what you have already, but for some firms who don't yet have calendar invite functions, it can make your time management a lot more efficient. You don't have to worry about booking rooms or having a sign-up sheet outside. It really manages all that in an enterprise sphere. And for customers who do have calendar function at the moment, Google Calendar is fully integrated into, it's got a Android app and it's got an iOS app. So if you're like me and you're going to meetings and you don't always have your, if you use a desktop or if you have a laptop but you're not carrying it with you, you can get notifications on your phone that are reminding you where you're supposed to be in the next 10 minutes, which I find extremely useful. Next product, if you've ever wanted to have an intranet or a project site where you've, say someone's joining your company for the first time and you want to have a set of documents and a learning process that they have to go through on their first few days, well, that would be a great use for Google Sites. It's a very easy point-and-click website builder that allows you to build internal websites, put documents on there, use it as a file cabinet or just an information store there. And the last thing I'd like to run through with you, as I said, I'm hoping that most of you there are using Chrome. It's an amazingly fast web browser. It's what we're using here at Google, of course, and on my it's what I'm using to present this right now. And I'd just like to run through with you on an overarching sense what it means to work in the web and use an amazing browser. So Google Apps is cross-browser compatible, but we'd always recommend you using Google Chrome just because it's the most advanced web technology there. So let's get on to the benefits of why being in the cloud matters. So you may have seen in the box on the left-hand side is an error box. If you're used to using, if your documents are stored on a shared drive in your company, it normally means that somewhere in your company, probably in the basement, there is a big server whirring away that's got lots of hard drives in it, and what that is doing is it's storing all the files that you're working on in your organization. Say I've got a Word document there. It's well, this looks like an Excel, but it's a budget analysis file. So say we've got an Excel file there. This is a file that you would be working in on a team. So several people have been editing this document. But a problem that you may well have come across so far is that if you try and open a document that someone else has opened on the network, that document is actually locked because desktop software is designed for single-person productivity. The idea is that you go into work, you've got your in tray of work to do, and that's all just belongs to you, and you get that work done, put it in the out tray, and you're ready to go. That was really the limitation of working in the past, but now companies I see here, and so I speak to a lot of UK customers who ring up and say, we increasingly have to do things to very tight deadlines, we're working more often on a matrix structure in teams and together. So really there's not enough time to say, oh, who's got that document open, or can you close it so I can edit it? We really tried to sit here at Google and design something where lots of people can be in the same document at once, editing away. So the idea is you could instantly see what other people are doing. There's no save button, everything's automatically saved, and you can see it in this example on the right. We've got a document which 11 people are in, and I've seen documents even more in Google where you've got lots of people who say there's a sign-up sheet, a spreadsheet that's saying anyone who wants to go on the trip this weekend, drop your name in this spreadsheet, and you see the spreadsheet automatically populate like magic because everyone is jumping in that spreadsheet, they're contributing what they need to that document. So really, if you think about the way IT works and the way the IT might be constraining the way you work at the moment, it's really this concept I hope is really interesting because rather than a silo approach where everyone has their own work to do, you're encouraging by putting this sort of IT into work that many people can open the same document and work together there. So at the end, when and actually maybe during this presentation, when I've encouraged you to open up the brainstorming document, that's actually an example there of people across the world, mainly in the UK there. It doesn't matter that you're on different browsers, different devices, you're all opening the same document, and we're going to collaborate by, I'm going to ask for your questions, then I'm going to answer them by audio, and also I'm going to add to that document as well. So that's really something that it was very easy for me to set up. I just had to set the sharing settings on that document to completely public, no one requires a login. Of course, the default is to have the sharing settings set to very private, only you can see your own document, and it's up to you then to share it with exactly who needs to see the document. In this case, we are about to collaborate in a team. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about Google Apps and whether it's right for you. I'd love to hear your questions at the end, so I'd really please do open that document there and add any questions as I'm speaking. Open a new tab for yourself. You're perhaps starting to simulate already how we're working here. So the document is not open on your desktop, it's opening in a new tab there. I'm just going to have a quick look at that document there. Brilliant. We've seen a few questions. Someone's mentioned that they have a Chromebook already and they love it. That's great to hear. And I can see there's quite a few people opening that document. Super. Right. So this is an example of, I perhaps could have shown you this a little earlier, sorry. This is where lots of people have opened a document there, and it looks like the document we're about to edit, in fact. So they've got a project, Everest. Presumably they're going to go as a team and climb Mount Everest, but that's not something you do as one person. Climbing up a mountain and organising the whole trip is something you really need to collaborate with your team members around you. So here we've got someone who's shared it with a team around them. They've all jumped in the document and they're editing different parts of it. But this, where you can see that the different part is highlighted, that's where that person is actually editing the document live. So you will see then them updating. Any updates they make will be showed absolutely instantly. Something I also mentioned there was the sharing settings there. So when you collaborate with people, they're not necessarily all in your company either. So in this example, what we're going to be doing here today is I've shared with you a document, and you're obviously all at the moment outside the company, and I still need to collaborate with you guys because you're going to be my customers, hopefully. On this example here, we've got the autostrat.com company, and they've shared with the partner-company.com. So maybe you have a supplier, maybe you're working with the local government on a tender. You could share this document. You should share your document. There's no need to email back and forth documents and revisions. So if you've ever had to email a document home or email it to a supplier, and then you've had a document back that says proposal version 5.4, that's gone with Google Apps, because you'll jump into the document, you make the edits, and we're all working from the fresh, live, up-to-date document. And in business terms, what does that mean? That means things happen a lot faster. There's a much better velocity to the way people interact and the way information is shared in your company. So jumping back to Gmail there, so a lot of you may have had experience with it already, and I said it's got great search, great spam filtering. What we've got here, one of the arrows is pointing to the conversation thread interface, which is really nice when, if you get very long threads of emails or emails that involve a big team of people, then rather than having lots of separate emails pop up in the inbox and being notified every 10 seconds that someone's they've replied and you've got a brand new email pop up, it grabs everything with one subject title together, and then when you open that thread, it shows you the ones that you haven't read yet only. So here we've got two people who have been chatting with each other. Just keeps it nice and simple and allows you to deal with lots of email quickly. We've also got, and this is a slightly out of date clip here, because actually we've launched something called Hangouts. Hangouts is actually where you can have video conversations launched from Gmail with up to 15 people in your company. This whole webinar is actually running on the Google Hangouts technology. You're actually participating in one right now. It doesn't matter that I am located in Dublin and you guys might be located in different parts of the UK. You're logging in. I'm sharing my screen with you. I'm sharing the audio with me, and I'm saving you from the video as well, so you don't have to see my mug. But if you're in more of a team, it doesn't matter that you're distributed there. You could be working on a document together. You can have a quick meeting. So again, this builds into this idea of velocity, the idea that if you want something to happen quickly, you just grab a Hangout. I work quite often with the guys in London. We'll jump on a Hangout quickly, we'll have a face-to-face meeting, and then we'll end. This sort of internet telephony and video services are always something which is quite expensive and difficult to implement, especially for small and medium businesses on their own. But it's just thrown in with Google Apps. It even works if you've got an iPhone or an Android with a front-facing camera. You can jump in, if you've got a good signal there, you can participate in the video chat, and you can be one of those 15 participants. Really, really cool stuff. So this is essentially saying that it's Gmail, but you can also see Gmail as a full communication tool. On the left-hand side, as part of Hangouts now, is also instant messaging. So even if someone's not on their computer, they've linked their mobile device to the system, their mobile device will get a little ping, and they can send a message back to you. So rather than having to telephone their desk or maybe go a couple of flights up to see them, you can just quickly say, look, working on this document now, have you made any progress? Manager can harass you, you can harass your manager, it's all great. Things happen a lot quicker with Google Apps. So I've already mentioned here I've implied the idea that I'm carrying my smartphone around the day at Google, and if you're carrying it around, you can join a meeting if you're perhaps on the road. But something that people are often doing now is saying, I've just bought this amazing tablet, or I've got this phone, and I'd like to check my emails on the way to work, or if I've been caught out of the office, I want to open up my documents. That's again a situation where people have either trying to be emailing documents themselves, say they're on the road and they have a client presentation, or something which is in some email infrastructure is not even possible. You're not allowed to read your corporate mail on your personal device, because that is a device you brought to the company. We can't guarantee the security of the device, and maybe our mail infrastructure is too old, so it doesn't support the brand new mobile phone platforms such as Android and iOS. So Google Apps is platform independent. I just mentioned earlier that you could be joining from your Mac, you could be joining from your phone. The same thing applies to everything that is stored in the Google Apps cloud. So all you need is a computer with a modern web browser, or an Android or an iOS device, that could be a tablet or a phone. And we've got a great Gmail app, which you may be using already for your email. We've got a Google Drive app, which will allow you to access all the documents that you've stored on our server. So I was just showing you that Project Everest document, or we're collaborating on a brainstorming document. It would be just as easy to open that up in the mobile version, and you will still see the live edits. So if someone is moving around the document, making changes, that will appear live on your smartphone when you've got the internet connection there. So it really doesn't discriminate if you're bringing a mobile device to work. You can still be productive with that great technology that your employees have bought themselves and that they want to use at work. So gone are the days where you're necessarily having to provide people with corporate phones anymore, because you need to guarantee a certain level of security or guarantee that it's going to work with your system. We're letting people bring in the stuff that they've got for Christmas and use it securely at work. At the end of the presentation, I'm going to have a quick chat to you about security, because I do get that question a lot. But we've got hundreds of engineers that are working on this, and we've perfected the mobile device management that makes it secure for people to bring their phone to work. So here at Google, I bought myself a nice Nexus 4 phone for Christmas. I own that device, but I also want the capability to be able to pick up my customer emails if I'm caught away from my desk. And I use the same sort of technology, or I use the same technology rather, that secures my mobile phone and makes it able to receive my corporate email that you will be able to use when you sign up for Google Apps there. This slide is again contrasting the work in the past and work in the future idea. So here we've got someone who's opened up their Google Drive and they've got full access to all the files that they need. This happened to me a few weeks ago. I dropped into town, into Grafton Street a little early, but I got a phone call from one of my colleagues saying, you forgot to email me that presentation. It was for a client meeting, and it was either a choice. Normally, if I hadn't been using Google Apps, I would have had to rush back into work, 20-minute walk. But instead, I just ended my phone call, opened up my Google Drive on my Nexus 4, and shared that presentation with my colleague. So the Google Drive has a list of all the files that I've been working on recently. I just added her on the permissions level, and I can continue on with my day. So I know some of you may have recoiled at the idea of having corporate email and documents on your phone, but in that case, it actually saved me the 20 minutes each way going back just to fiddle around on my computer so I could email the file or share the file with the right person there. So definitely being a little bit more connected to work can make you be more disconnected in some way. So this is a nice example of someone who's brought a tablet to work, and this is what the interface would look like if you were opening up that document on a tablet. So if you just need to make some last-minute changes to a document there, open up your Google Drive, open the document that you're interested in working on, and you can just make a few changes. I mean, most of the time, if you've perfected a document on the go, and maybe you just need to modify it for one client or for one meeting that you're about to do there, you can easily just jump on and make the changes that you need there, whatever device you're carrying with you. If you've got the iOS, you've got the Android, or any device with a modern web browser. So I've mentioned at other points in this webinar that what's different about Google Apps is that it's all running in the browser. So by having things run in the browser, it means that you're always running the most up-to-date version of the software that we have. So you may have noticed that over the years, if you've been using Gmail, that the interface has just got better and better and better, cleaner, new features added. The old way of doing things is that you'd have to, when you want to upgrade to your office productivity software, you'd have to go to the shop, have the upfront cost of buying the new CD, and then install it on your computer, and then bam, you've just been updated. 5 years later, you've got the brand new version of whatever software you're using there. We run an idea, it's a subscription model, so you subscribe to have access to our software and your documents and your email there. So it allows that. What that means is, because it's being accessed through the browser and you're not installing anything on your hard drive, because all the processing power and the storage is done on our servers, we can just upgrade you to the latest straight away. There's no extra cost for being on the latest version, and it means that we can fix bugs very quickly, and there's no software patches or updates to install. It's all there. And it also doesn't matter if you're using several devices. You don't have to install the updates on your home computer and then on your work computer and your Mac and your Windows PC. Just open it up in the browser and you've always got a consistent, up-to-date user experience. So if you're thinking of perhaps which version of productivity suite you're using, it might be from 2003, if you're unlucky, 2007, 2010. You're not benefiting from the innovations that have been developed in the last few years. The idea of working together, of being connected, and working on mobile devices. In 2010, even maybe better in 2007, the availability of smartphones was much less. People didn't have data packages. By tying yourself into a legacy software package, it means you don't have that ability to start editing on your phone and benefiting from working on the move. So that is really the essential benefit of being in the cloud, that your documents are accessible everywhere and that you can use an up-to-date version of the software. You wouldn't use a phone from 2007. It'd be a bit painful to use. You wouldn't be able to have the features. So why use an out-of-date piece of software at work when there's the option to cut costs and use a secure, up-to-date piece of software running in your browser, which is Google Apps there. Just a quick reminder, if you've got any questions about anything I'm mentioning here, please do drop them into the into the brainstorming document. I see, brilliant. People are adding in even extra questions there. I'm happy to go through that in 15 minutes time. So this is, I said I'd show you the interface of each product here. Here's the interface of Google Drive. So key thing to mention here, I've said there that you can open up a document and share it with people. That document, excuse me, is stored in a piece of software that we call Google Drive. So it's drive.google.com. You log in with your corporate email address that we provide you with there, and it's got an access to all the files that you've either created or that have been shared with you in your organization or outside your organization. So Google Drive doesn't only support the Google Documents, the Google Spreadsheets, the Google Presentations, the Google Drawing package. You can also drag in your legacy files. If you do have a Microsoft Word document or an Excel document there, it's still a great way to store files and back them up. So I've lost several laptops, unfortunately. One succumbed to coffee, one was stolen. So it's best if you do have a copy of everything that's sitting on your hard drive in the cloud, and we give you 30 gigabytes per user to do that. So included in that, in the subscription, is 30 gigabytes. So you can actually upgrade that if you need more there, if you've got a power user. So I personally recommend, if you have to do anything today, back up your documents to the personal version of Google Drive if you can. But I'd also encourage you to allow your employees to make a copy of everything they've got, drop it into the cloud there. Even if it is a legacy document, you can still preview it in the browser, which is pretty awesome. And it also means that if you've ever wanted to open a Microsoft Word document on your iPad or your Android, we actually acquired a company called QuickOffice, which makes editing software for Microsoft Office that's designed to work on Android and iOS. We actually include that for free with Google Apps for Business. So if your employees subscribe, if you subscribe your employees to our package there, then they can download the QuickOffice app and they can be editing Microsoft documents on their phone as well. So no need to install. Well, it's not possible to install Office. There's no if you've got an iOS tablet there. So brilliant reason, again, even if you want to stick to using legacy file formats, that's supported with Google Apps for Business, which is a really cool feature there. Well, I just forgot about that because we don't use Microsoft Documents here, but if you are, that's no problem, and it gives you more functionality there to edit them on the move. Let's have a look here. Yeah, and as I was mentioning there, this is kind of alluding at the idea that you can quickly view documents. So if your computer's slowing down and it's taken ages to open something, that's because it's having to do all the thinking and processing power locally. As I mentioned, Google software, this Google Apps, is actually stored on our server, and the software runs in the cloud. So it uses the same sort of servers that run our really super quick search to open your documents, to preview them, and that means it doesn't matter if you're using a really thin client, a really basic computer, or if you're using a mobile phone, it's still going to open super quick because all the thinking part is done by our servers. So when you're buying Google Apps, you're not just buying storage, the up-to-date software, and the bug fixing there, but you're also buying the computer brains that go behind making this software work really fast. So I mentioned there that we update our software very often. There's actually a website there called whatsnew.googleapps.com that shows you what's due to be released in the next few weeks. You can actually choose, if as a domain administrator, the fast release schedule, so you get the brand new stuff straight away, or you can choose a slower release schedule, which allows you to test yourself what's about to come up for employees, and then it rolls out a little bit slower, so you've got the time there to prepare your employees, or just send out a quick email to let them know there's extra features being added. So it really does allow you the flexibility as an administrator there. And I just want to check to see if yes, brilliant. I have included the administrator console. So I will, the next slide after this, I'd love to tell you about the administrator console. If you're an IT admin, you're going to love this feature. Just hold on one tick. Yep, so I mentioned there we've got 30 gigabytes per employee. That's, if you don't talk computer jargon, then that's a lot. That's if you've got a on-site server, or if you're using webmail, you've probably seen that you're consuming probably a lot of your storage. If people are sending big attachments to you there, if you've ever had to delete an email there, that's quite painful. It's nice to keep a copy of everything. Like, I've looked at emails that have been sent to me 5 years ago, 2 years ago, because they contain some important information there. Google gives each employee 30 gigabytes, which means that you never have to delete an email. And as I mentioned now, that because Gmail and Google Drive storage is combined as of 2 months ago, you can buy up to 16 terabytes of storage per user. So there's really no excuse to ever delete a document or ever delete an email, because you never know when it's going to come in handy. Right, admins, this is for you. Anyone who's ever had to manage a directory in their organization, or if they've had to manage multiple devices and deploy software, being an IT admin is a really hard job. It's a nightmare of patching together different systems which aren't really supposed to work with each other. So because Google Apps lives in the cloud and it's device agnostic, it allows you to connect lots of different devices on a common platform, or to use a web browser, which is also a common platform as well. So the implication of that is that the only thing you need to administer if you are looking after your Google Apps domain for your company is to go to admin.google.com, which gives you this web interface. We've got organization and users, which allows you to add and remove users in 3 clicks. You've got the services that you allow your employees to use. So because you own this Google account, you're allowed to suspend users. You can disable certain Google services. So maybe you don't want them to use Google Sites. You could turn off the chat functionality for just a few employees who aren't going to use it. It's fully up to you as a domain administrator what you want Google Apps to do for your employees there. There's also an extra add-on called Google Vault. So if you work in an industry, or you have an HR policy that requires you to keep a copy of email, you can just flick on this service, which is an extra purchase add-on that keeps a copy of everything that's sent and received in your domain. So if you ever have either a compliance issue where someone has deleted something which is crucial for the company, either accidentally or maliciously, they've been deleting emails, you can bring that email back. There's a great search feature where you can search through all the email that's ever been sent in your organization there, and you can download a copy for any litigation, or just restore it there to their inbox if it's just an accident and they need their email and their attachment back. I was speaking to one customer who said that this feature would have been super useful. They'd sent a former employee had sent a contract to someone in Word format, so they'd attach it to the email, they sent it to the customer said, yep, fine. However, the company in question couldn't find that contract anymore. The person left the company, they must have thrown it out, they deleted their files. If he'd had Google Vault there, he would have been able to bring back that attachment and clarify the contract disagreement they were having right there, which just made life a lot easier. If people are increasingly sending emails to customers outside and dealing business just entirely on email, great to have a copy of everything that's sent and received there. So that's called Google Vault. But yes, as a domain administrator, your life is going to be so much easier now. You can manage, so something which I'll cover in a sec, but you can allow your employees to securely connect their mobile phones to your corporate account. So they go onto their phone, log in with their name at yourcompany.com. That allows you to, if they lose their mobile phone, they can you can easily track its location. You can delete the corporate sensitive information on there, leaving any of their personal files unaffected. So if they do find the phone, they can start using it again. They can log back in. You can also change the password remotely. Really, really nice features, and it's all done through a web interface. So it doesn't matter where you are. You don't need to be next to your mainframe to do this. You don't even need to be an advanced IT administrator. Say that maybe you're a small business joining this, and you're interested in having enterprise level IT for the first time. Maybe you've been using domain-based or web-based email. This allows you to have the same sorts of tools that some of the biggest companies in the UK are using, but at your scale, and it's brilliant. We've got 24 hours. We've got 24-hour support, so if you ever got any questions, you can just give us a call there, and we're happy to walk you through how to get to the right place in the control panel there. So, another benefit of letting Google manage your documents and software in the cloud is that we have great reliability. We financially guarantee that our services are going to be up 99.9% of the time, and in reality we actually achieved much higher than that last year. So if you're ever interested, before you buy, you can actually see the history and reliability of Google Apps by going to google.com/apps status. So we let all customers see it. We're not hiding. We'd love you to go and see how reliable our services are, and as I said, we enter in a contract with your business and we guarantee its uptime. So if you are interested in that, please do get in touch with us. Have a look on the website about that financial guarantee about its uptime. But this is going to be especially interesting to any firm who's been suffering downtime recently. If you're having to turn your server off to patch it and then upgrade it again, it's an absolute pain, and it really does compromise the productivity of your workers. So this is a really nice feature to have, and the security that Google's got their expertise in keeping our servers up and running. So yeah, we've got engineers working on this 24/7 to keep things working. So I said I wanted to chat about security just because most people do ask Most people do ask me about it when they call into us there. So I often say that by moving your stuff into the cloud and letting Google take care of it, you're actually ensuring maybe a higher level of security than you can guarantee right now, simply because most small and medium businesses can't afford to have a dedicated security specialist, whereas our servers and our services have been built up with security in mind from the beginning. So you may not have seen this, but this is something we use here at Google, and most large enterprises will be paying extra for this service. It's called two-factor authentication. And by the way, this is free. If you have a Gmail account, you can enable this also for your personal Gmail account, but it's something that, again, we've perfected in the consumer sphere, and we now deploy to enterprises if they want as well for no extra cost. And it adds an amazing security layer to your IT systems. So if at the moment someone, maybe through a phishing attack, they send your employees a suspicious email and it says, look, this is from your IT administrator, we're having a password reset and we'll need you to log in there and change your password. By doing so, it grabs that person's password, and then that compromises the IT system, because the weakest link in the system can often be social engineering, when your employees are tricked into giving information or they accidentally disclose it there. With two-factor authentication, if someone tries to log into one of your employees' account from a suspicious location, so somewhere that employee has never been before, it will send a text message to your employee's mobile phone or to an app they install, up to them, and it will say, look, you're trying to access from a suspicious location, please give us that code. If they don't provide that and they see this text message coming through, then they know that their account has been compromised. They can just quickly go down to the IT administrator and say, look, someone somehow got my password, please change my password as well. But until that code is entered, that access to that account is denied. So it doesn't matter if someone managed to steal one of your employees' passwords, but you give them two-factor authentication, then there's no extra cost to that. So if an enterprise wanted to deploy that in the past, they would have had to issue everyone with a key fob. That key fob would look like a little pocket calculator. You press the button and it would give you a unique code every 30 seconds to allow you to log into the system. You may well be using them now in your firm, or if you worked for a firm in the past that's been using them. Those devices cost between $50 to $100 depending on which model you buy, and then you also have to connect that to a one-time password server which correctly integrates with your web server and also your email server there. But because we made it for one customer and for our personal customers, we've rolled it out to everyone for no extra cost. So this is just a small example of how switching to the web, trusting your services and your data to Google, can ensure a higher level of security than can be feasible right now. Happy to chat. Please do drop any security questions at the end. I'll do my best to answer them or point you in the right direction there. But again, for example, the mobile device management that I just mentioned there, that's normally an extra cost. If firms want to now have a bring your own device to work policy, they have to buy and enforce software that makes sure that devices can be wiped remotely. But this is just something which is included with Google with Google Apps there. So high security is the standard. There's no extra costly add-ons. It's just the standard. It's like buying a high model car, but all the standards are included there. This is something I wanted to throw in at the end. If you work in IT or you're in a project manager there, something that customers ask me about is how do I prepare my employees for going Google? So we mentioned earlier that this really can change the way you work. You can be working more in teams. You're working in the browser now all day. You're working with Gmail. That might be a change for some of the people in your organization. As I said, Gmail is the most popular webmail provider for personal users, but some people still might have not seen it yet. So one of our largest customers there, which is the Weather Company, they run an international network of weather monitoring stations and a very popular US service called the Weather Channel there. If you've ever been on holiday, you may have seen it. They switched all their employees over to Google there, and they had some interesting tips there which you might want to take on board when you switch over to Google Apps. So they identified the people in their firms which are the most tech savvy, or the ones which dealt with IT the most in their jobs, and they gave them a little extra training at the start. So they took the most enthusiastic people, the people who have used Google Drive and Google Docs already, which is common in many universities now. It's common if people are using Chromebooks at home, or if they've got an iPad, they'd probably be using Calendar, they've probably be using Drive already. So you grab those people, you give them a little extra training there to make them the experts and the guides, and you can send them back to their teams, and they can be the go-tos. So in the Weather Company, they got great special T-shirts, they got stars above their cubicles there. So if anyone's got any questions on switchover day, they can just drop in and say, look, where is the change signature button in Gmail? You know, small things like that. We also have full technical support online. We've also got a learning center that you can put your employees through. That's no extra cost there. So Google Apps is very much self-service. If you just Google the problem, you can find the answer, which is because it's a service that's used by so many different customers. We have the online support, and you know, in your firm currently, you might have an IT ticketing system where you have to call in IT to change something or ask them to change your signature. But this is all self-service user model because people are familiar with using Gmail, and all the documentation is online. So there's lots of YouTube videos, there's lots of documentation, but again, there's nothing beats training a couple of your employees up to great standards so they can say, yeah, click, that, and that, and you're off. Also, what the Weather Company did implicitly by giving out these T-shirts there is making a lot of noise about it. By letting everyone know, we're going Google now, that doesn't just mean your email is going to come into Gmail, and actually it doesn't have to come into Gmail, it can come into your traditional software. If you've got Outlook or Outlook Express, you can configure it to come into there. But it's worth making noise and saying, look guys, you can now bring your phone to work. You can now work the way you've been using products at home, and bringing that culture into the workplace, the working together, you know, having the collaborating on the documents there. So just letting know people what's happening and what the options are. Often people. So I was deploying Google Apps for a school recently. We were allowed to go onto the comment, go down, help a school get onto Google Apps there. And I think I was training a group of 5 teachers how to use Google Drive. I think I left one of them alone for just 1 minute while I dropped over to another teacher. And he managed to find a special app for Google Drive which allows you to animate presentations, so you can have characters come onto the screen and they have pop-out bubbles. Something I would have never have guessed or known was in Google Drive, but a teacher who just had an appetite to go on there and make his presentations and his classroom activities interesting managed to find this application, was up and playing with it, and I was just astounded. I was learning from the people who I was supposed to be training for. So another benefit of Google Apps, which you have to take my word for it, but by giving your employees tools which are open, flexible, and just a lot more powerful than the desktop versions that they may be using right now, it opens up a lot of possibilities what your employees might choose to, and what they might now feel is capable with Google Docs. So, for example, that you on the spreadsheets, because multiple people can edit at one time, you don't have to have sign-up sheets for things. People can just jump on the spreadsheet, edit things. They can open it on their phone if they're away from their desk. And I'm hoping that maybe that's spurring some ideas in your own mind about how you could do things differently in your firm. If you're not tied to your desktop, you're not tied to physical files and clunky desktop software, what is possible in the workplace now? So, who has gone over to Google already? So I've dropped in some big firms here from around the world just to give you an idea. Hopefully, I think in the UK my favourite ones are definitely the Guardian and Ocado, because for me I just see them as firms which are extremely dynamic. Both of them are breaking the business models of the industry which they exist in. So the Guardian is great with its digital offering. Ocado has a really interesting distribution network where you can order products online, and there's no real supermarkets. It just populates your order mostly by robot, and then sends it out with a driver, and you get all email updates. So those are very disruptive players in the industry, and I'm just very proud that they would have chosen to use Google Docs and Gmail there. So if you receive an email or send an email for somebody in the Guardian, you wouldn't know that they've been using that they're using Gmail and that they're using Google Apps there. It happens silently, but for me, it shows that because IT has such an impact on culture and the way people work, I can really see how the Guardian would be using this in their organisation to really get things done very quickly to allow the print edition to go up on time. And actually, it's not mentioned on here, but the Times Group do as well. So the Sun and the Times of London would be using Google Apps as well. Jaguar Land Rover have got operations internationally now that they're owned by Tata. Tata itself is also on Google Apps. So yeah, great to see such an interesting wide group of companies on Google Apps. Similarly, I was on holiday there in Berlin, and I was chatting to someone I met there, and he was running a startup, and he said, well, of course I'm on Google Apps. All the small startups now choose to go on it because it doesn't involve the big investment of capital. It doesn't involve having someone dedicated on IT staff there. So it's just really nice to go around and hear positive things about Google Apps. So if you like it and you enjoy it, please do tell other people and other businesses there. If anyone starts complaining about their email, it being unreliable, it'd be great if you just mentioned to other people that you're using Google Apps and you're enjoying it. So that concludes my presentation there. I am going to dash over now to the document there. So if you wouldn't mind, to the right-hand side of this video, if you've got it in full screen, exit that. Drop into the document here. If anyone's interested in going through specific applications, we've got a live example of Calendar, an example of shared documents, an example of a spreadsheet, and of a form. If any of those products interest you specifically, please note it on the document, and I'll happily run through that in like a 2-minute short pitch for everyone to see. But if not, please do open that document there and drop some questions in, and I'll be back in 2 minutes there to fill you in and answer each question one by one. Brilliant. Right. So I can see some questions being dropped in here already. I'm going to make a table. Something I'm just interested in generally is where you guys are connecting from. So if you're in the UK, if you're connecting from a particular part of the UK, I'm just going to make a table here. Where are you guys based? So I'm going to start, I'm in Dublin. If you want to jump in there and add your location, that'd be excellent. So, there's some great questions here. First of all, can we get Gmail to look as though if it was sent from Outlook, i.e. looking it was sent from our own domain with our own signatures and graphics? Categorically, yes. We here at Google use, obviously, Google Apps. We've got, as I mentioned there, The Guardian. If you send an email to any of us, it is sent with the @guardian.co.uk or @google.com domain. There is absolutely no Gmail branding. You can even remove the Gmail logo from your employees' interface if you want. And if your employees are used to and they really love using Outlook there, you can actually connect Google Apps to Outlook. So on Monday when you switch over, the employees would notice any different. Can we dump our Microsoft Office licenses if we go with Google Apps? That's what we've done. So here in Google, so the idea is that you put all your stuff into the cloud there, and you can use our document editor, our presentation software, and our spreadsheet software to create the documents you need. If you need to download it for a customer who's on a legacy, if they're using Microsoft Office, there's a file download as button. So it's not even a problem if you do need that version in Microsoft Word. And as I mentioned there, we do throw in for free a Microsoft document editor for mobile devices. So it offers you a lot of flexibility there. I would absolutely advocate going on there and testing what you think. Like, you're using Docs now, so if you like it, I would absolutely, if you want to drop the license, why not? It's a great way to prove that Google Apps reduces the total cost of ownership of your IT. So for only £3.30 per user per month, you're getting access to the full suite of software, the storage, the security, the updates, and it all comes in one, and it's always being updated. So that's a great way to cut your IT costs, absolutely. So we've also got, if a spreadsheet is created within your app and emailed externally, how it is viewed by your recipients. So, good question. You can either there download it as and send it as a open document. You can send it as a PDF. You can send it as a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet format. Even better, and what I'd love you to do is share it with someone outside the organization. If they're on Google Apps, they'd be able to open it. So if you're sharing it with me at Google, just share it with my Google account. I'll be able to open that, because in the sharing settings, you are specifically given one user the ability to open and edit that document. And if they don't have it at work, you can share it with their personal account, if that's something you're willing to do there. If they're using Gmail at home, if they've got an Android device there, you just need to share it with their @Gmail or their Google account. So anyone who's used YouTube, anyone who's used any Google service has a Google account. And just ask them, look, can I share this with you? Add in their email address there. Obviously, you've got to check, because you're sharing it with their personal account and not a corporate account there. I'm sure your company's got policies on that. So if you're not sure, you can always file, download as Microsoft format, email it over to them, and say, look, consider switching over to Google Apps if you want to edit this with me. But I was speaking to a customer who was needing to share documents with a local authority and with a supplier. They were collaborating on a project that they all need to do together, and this is exactly the reason why they did it. So they could all have the same version, because it was just getting absolutely unbearable, and because this was a health and safety document, dangerous to not have the right version and have the most up-to-date version. So I've got someone asking to have a look at the spreadsheet app. Happy to do that. I'll just quickly answer these other two questions, and then I'll show everyone what the spreadsheet document looks like. We've got 2 customers in Surrey and 1 in Newcastle there. So yep, welcome. It's pretty cool, I think, that we're all editing the same document despite the fact we're all over the place. But yeah, I love that. So I design and deliver training for other organizations. Can I hang out with them if they don't have a Google account or edit docs with them? So I've kind of covered that a little bit there. To hang out with someone, they do need to have at least a Google account. So that can be a Gmail account they've opened themselves, or if they've opened a YouTube account, or if they've ever used Google Docs or Google Sites or Blogger, then they already have a Google account. They don't need, you absolutely do not need to, they do not have to be paying for Google Apps for Business to edit. The only reason why we require sign-in is so you can make sure it is the intended user who accesses your document. But interestingly, if it's not a corporate, if for some reason you're sharing a document that's not corporate sensitive and you want the whole world to be able to see it, like I've configured this document right here, I've said anyone in the world can edit, does not require sign-in. So you could be viewing this in an incognito window, not logged in with your Google account if you do have one, and you're still editing it. So, next question. Does the functionality of the form extend to being used as an online evaluation tool? Yes, absolutely. The school I was deploying it, Google Apps to was using Google Spreadsheets to do multiple choice tests, and they ran an amazing formula which would then automatically calculate the student's score at the end. So the teacher was very happy. They said, look, this used to take me ages to tick, 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 just a multiple choice, but Google Spreadsheets did this automatically and very quickly. Just to that final question, yes, you can export as CSV. So I've got 2 minutes left, and hopefully someone is not going to kick me out of my room here, but I will just quickly show you there the spreadsheet option we've got there. So if you head over back to the YouTube video and the webinar page, one of the options is Google Spreadsheets. So let's open that. So you've all got permission to edit this, so please work away. Change some of the figures which one is connected. I'm just seeing here there is of course a really nice graph, and the graph up to date for everyone straight away. So start changing some of the figures. I think it's this top one under target. So if I change it to 150, yes, it does. So under the bit where it says target Q1, Q2, Q3, just try editing that. I have family who work as accountants, and they would, when they describe the sort of problems they've had at work, they would absolutely love this. So I think they've had to buy extra software which replicates this functionality, but team accountants, management accountants then need to work together by default. Anyone who works in finance is supporting other people in the business, and it's crucial to be able to collaborate, and most software doesn't allow you to do this. So I saw one customer who said, brilliant, we can just put our monthly accounts onto this. We've got our cash flow, we've got our balance sheet there, and everyone in the organization that needs to see it, even people not in finance, can jump into the document. They can have only viewing rights, not editing rights, and they can actually see the most up-to-date information that the finance department is creating. So if the finance department changed it a minute ago, you see it in the next minute. So the functionalities that, yeah, thanks, some of you guys are changing the figures already, I see. We've got the tab functionality that you'd be used to there. You've got conditional formatting up at the top. You've got you've got a feature which often customers ask me about macros. So they spent a lot of time writing the macros to automate things, to do things the way they like. So if you love macros, you're going to love AppScript. AppScript can do really awesome things with spreadsheets and also integrate with other Google products. So I wrote a script the other day that would read the unread inbox count of my Gmail account. Why would that be used for a spreadsheet? So if I would connected it to a Google account which is exclusively for customer questions, I could count how many questions have been unread. I can count that by period. I can filter that by labels. So AppScript will basically do everything. So as far as I understand it, will do loads of stuff that the macros would have done, and also fully integrate into the rest of the Google Apps script. Means you can do really cool things. It's just limited by your imagination there. If you've got any questions on that, please do add it to the demo. Add it to the document spreadsheet there. I know one of you had a question there related to can you use this as assessment tool. So if you quickly pop back to the webinar page and click Google Forms, if you create a Google form, that actually populates into a spreadsheet. So if you click Live Results, you can actually see all the submissions that have been made to this form, and it allows you to perform calculations on those submissions. So you could, if you were doing a submission on where should we go on holiday, you could count the most frequently mentioned place. You could even, one of the chart options is to draw a map. So you're actually adding more advanced functionality than is available in in desktop packages, because it's integrated with Google Maps. Everyone can collaborate at the same time there. So I'd just encourage you, after this webinar, play around with this document, change it as much as you want, because there's an app script that actually resets this document every 24 hours. So if you want to mess it up, please be my guest. It resets, so it can be used as a sandbox there. Just a quick question that's added on the end. Can the spreadsheet be saved as CSV? I answered yes, and or a PRN file. Personally, I've never heard of a PRN file, and I haven't seen it on the option, so you'll need to stick to CSV there. So I think we're just coming to the end of our time there. So if you'd like to take this further, it'd be brilliant if you could go to google.co.uk/A. /A stands for apps there, so that's google.co.uk/A. You can set up a trial of Google Apps, and that's most useful if you're interested in what the web interface looks for the control panel. See, you can actually add 10 users for 30 days for free using the full suite, add and remove users, add services, see what it looks like. Feel free to look around these documents here, modify it, make sure you look at the docs demo, the drive demo, the form demo, and change it around however you see fit there. And if you are a firm of 20 employees or more, then we can actually provide some more assistance for you here in Dublin. So there's a telephone number on the website as well. If you just click Contact Sales. For all customers, if you're below 20, we'd still love to have your business there. So there is 24. Once you've created an account, you actually get access to 24-hour support on an 020 number for no extra cost, and you actually can test that while you're in your trial period. So if that's something you're interested in, please don't hesitate to open up a trial, get in touch with the support department, and ask any questions you have there. It's the same level of support you'll receive when you're a full-time customer. So if there's no further questions there, as I said, please do start a trial, jump onto the website. There's a lot more resources on the website there. And before I lose my voice, all I've got left to say is thank you very much for coming and spending your time. It's probably the end of the day now, so safe trip home, and I look forward to hearing from you on the Google Apps form. If you give us a call, drop in a form, or please do feel free to start a trial. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.